video, I'm going to show you around the Westerly Middle School Library's website. So the first thing we need to do is get to the website. If you're starting from the Westerly Public Schools homepage, you can go up to Select a School, down to Westerly Middle School. Now from here, you're going to click Departments and Media Center. And that's going to bring you to the homepage, our library website. We're going to take a look around here, but I'm just going to say that it's a really good idea for you to go ahead and pause this video right now and come up and bookmark this website because we're going to be using it quite a bit this quarter. So moving on, you're going to notice a few things on this homepage. There's a search bar up in the corner. So if you're looking for something specific, you can use that. There's all these tabs with the different sections of the website. Usually anything important or new or something that's coming up is right at the top here. Underneath you can see library hours and then the rules for borrowing books. And there's also my email and some information over here. But this homepage is kind of changing. Something to know about this website is that it's kind of newer. It's always been here, but it hasn't had as many details. So it's something that is growing and changing all the time. I'm going to show you around a little bit at some of the features, but just be aware that it might change slightly, but most of the important details will stay right where they are. Start with ebooks, audiobooks, and digital media because we already kind of looked at that. So this page, it has all of your materials that you can read online or listen to online. One thing to know is that there's a lot more on here than there normally is because a lot of these companies have given us free access to their books, which we normally wouldn't have, like Abdo and Tumble Books. But this is a really great resource for digital reading. At the bottom, there's also a bunch of magazines on a whole assortment of topics. There's one about coding. There's one about running. I Love Make. That's a great magazine. But there's more here too. And then underneath is some news sources. These are specifically chosen because they are designed for your age group. So if you are looking for some interesting news, you can come on down here. So there's that. Like I said, some of these will be changing, but things that are always here are definitely Destiny Discover, Westerly Public Library, and Epic Books. And you do need a login for Epic Books and Destiny Discover, as well as a library card for the Westerly Public Library. But these are all really good free resources for reading. If you click on the Reading Resources tab, but I'm just going to skip down to New Books. By looking at new books, you can click here and see all the new books at Westerly Middle School. You can also come down and see summer reading. So this is from last year. When we have a summer reading plan for this year, it'll change with all the information that you need to get your summer reading done. So there is that. Some other things too that might be useful. And like I said, this is all kind of changing right now, but the free images and sounds and media for your projects, like if you're making a video and you need a free song or a sound effect, I'm going to put a bunch of resources on here that you could use. There's also some different topics. So I know that 5th grade used this for one of their social studies projects, but like on social studies, if you have a specific project, sometimes I'll put together a bunch of resources that your teachers can use to help you finish that project. So that's something that you can look around at. But on the home page of all of these topics, you'll scroll down and notice that there's a bunch of resources here. So even if I don't have one specifically made for your project, then you can still come to like the social studies tab and look at the bottom and find a bunch of really useful sources that are specific to social studies, science, ELA, world language, whatever. And that changes all the time too. So back to the library homepage. Right now, there's a page with a bunch of information about coronavirus. This is really useful because there's been a lot of pretty bad information going around. So this is a place where you can go for really good, trustworthy information, and a couple of short videos that kind of explain the virus and how a virus works, how it spreads, and what's going on with that. It's called Library Class and Flex. It's kind of where I store some information, but we aren't using that right now because we're using Google Classroom all the time. So we'll come back to this when we come back to school. But a really useful tab that we use most often on this website is the Research Guides tab. So I'm going to go to the main Research Guides homepage for a second. So in class, we talked about how all libraries have websites with their digital resources and how this can be really useful for making sure that you have reliable and accurate information. So like I said in class, all of the resources that are on here are resources that have been checked by me, checked by usually a group of other librarians, and then normally they're just really trusted resources with a good reputation. I'm going to scroll down a bit and take a look at some of these. So what these are here are resources you could use for any research topic that you have, for any class at any time. I mean, these would be useful to you when you're in high school in Spanish as much as it would be right now in a ELA class. So these are just they'll cover a little bit on a lot of topics. They're not great for like tons of detail on a topic, but they're good for getting you started. We'll probably be taking a look at some of these in the next couple days, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just know that this is here to give you an idea of where to start when you're looking for really good information. So you'll notice that there's a little drop down here, and then there is a tab called Library Databases and More. Library databases are tools that we use usually that are paid for subscriptions. And these are tools that collect information that would be a little bit harder to find just on Google because it is something that comes from a really reliable source that you would have to pay for. A lot of these tools are specialized and you'd probably need a little bit of an introduction in order to learn how to use them. And we'll go through some of those together in the coming weeks. But just know that this is just another section where you can find some really good, reliable information. Also here, we have a tab on finding credible sources. And a tab on copyright, plagiarism, and how to give credit to your sources. So pretty much everything in the research guides is collected specifically to be used as a tool to help you finish your research and get some reliable information. We're going to be looking at some of these tools a little bit deeper in the coming weeks, but just know that this is a really great tool for finding reading resources and reliable information, especially for research projects.